Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the big one, Super Bowl preview that's happening tomorrow in New Orleans. Super Bowl 59. And I can't wait. Well, I'm nervous about the result. I can't lie, as a Patriots fan myself, I'm not really excited about the result. But we're here to discuss, we're here to talk. Lads, how you guys doing? All good?
I'm good, thank you, man.
King, you? All good?
Yeah, we're all good. Excited for the game. There's a lot of storylines going into it. Chiefs
Yeah.
looking to do the three-peat, which is the first time ever. So they're looking to do something that no one's ever done, and we we're looking for revenge for the previous game 2 years ago. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, of course. And we'll discuss everything in detail. Obviously, the Eagles and the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl after they met 2 seasons ago. Actually, the irony that the Eagles last year, um, I tell you, that was King. I'll start with you, obviously, since you're an Eagles fan. Last season was something that you never thought would happen, didn't you? Like the way you guys exited the playoffs, the way you guys just you know threw away another chance to go back to the Super Bowl when you guys were one of the best teams and probably the best team in the in the conference. And yeah, what do you think, obviously, and how are you feeling ahead of this game?
In regards to the previous season, yeah, it was a poor season. We went out in the first round. It was just one of those ones where our team wasn't playing well on the day. So it happens. I think the thing about NFL, which I like a lot, is that it's just one and done. You have to just play good for that one game, and no matter how bad or good a season you have a potential to get to the Super Bowl if you're in the playoffs. So that's what I like about the NFL. In regards to this game and this season, I think the biggest difference for us is that we have a guy in Saquon who's offers something different, especially when it comes to the run game. I think
My MVP so far this playoffs, Saquon
yeah,
Barkley.
yeah, he's been a big difference maker. One of the I think outside of Luca, he's probably one of the biggest fumbles in terms of football for the Giants to let him go like that. He's been a difference maker in the sense that it allows us to be able to split the type of game we play. We're either going to beat you on the run with Saquon, or Jalen's going to do something as well. He can also run as well, so it kind of is. It's funny. I think it's like a lesser version of what Baltimore, the Ravens have, but we've allowed Saquon to do a lot more running than they've allowed with Henry, and I think that's probably the difference maker is that when Saquon is on a hot form, we just give him the ball and then he just runs the team down and he makes things happen out of nothing. There's been plenty of moments where we've struggled in the first half, and then he's been clutch back to back touchdowns, and then we're kind of just skating through. So I think he's going to be the biggest piece in terms of our offense, and I think defensively we just have to stop Patrick, and it's going to be a difficult one because obviously he's got the refs on his side, so that's an extra layer of things that you have to fight against when you're facing the Chiefs. I mean, the Bills found out, so it's going to be very interesting because I
I think
think
the Bills fumbled, man.
they did for it, but some of the decision making was terrible. So
Yeah,
you
to
have
go
to
for
basically take the game out the refs' hands in terms of not allow the Chiefs to have too much of the ball, um,
yeah.
and force them to play your game. So it's just going to be very interesting. I think the two quality teams is going to be very interesting to see if we can stop them and force them to try and stop our run game. So, yeah, so as long as we kind of are able to start the run game early on, I think it'll be the biggest the biggest issue that they'll have to deal with. But that's as far as I got in terms of game.
Yeah. And Raf, over to you, bro. What are your thoughts on this game? This.
Yeah, I mean, Philly, I think I've said for a couple of years now, have the single best roster in football, and they have for a long time. The job Howie Roseman has done for that front office and that roster is probably one of, if not the single greatest GM jobs we've ever seen in the history of professional sports. From drafting to trades to, you obviously got Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell in the draft as instant, high impact rookie starters. Jordan Mailata, who I believe was a 7th round pick a couple of years ago, is now a top tackle in this league in free agency. He brought in Saquon. He used trades to get himself AJ Brown, who's one of the best receivers in this league. So, I mean, from a roster construction standpoint, I mean, I think the Eagles have the advantage in, almost every capacity other than, maybe quarterback. I mean, definitely quarterback. And then, maybe one or two other positions. But, and it's hard to, as a Patriots fan, I want to see the Chiefs lose. I'm going to be totally honest.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like, I'm rooting for my brothers in Philly. But you just can't bet against Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl. Like, it's hard to.
No, you're right, and obviously, because we've seen in the past they have the pedigree. Like the Chiefs have the pedigree. Like they've been in how many Super Bowls in the last 5-6 years now? Like 4 of them at least.
Yeah, I think
4 in the last 6. Because I think the Rams were one of the Super Bowls against the Bengals, right?
Yeah.
And the other one was.
I believe this is the Chiefs' 5th Super Bowl in the last 6 years.
What was the other one before? Is this 5 and 6 Super Bowls for the Chiefs now? 5
Yes.
5 and 6? Wow.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
They beat the Niners, they lost to the Bucks, then they beat the Eagles, and they beat the Niners again, and now they play the Eagles again.
You just can't count out Tom Brady, the GOAT, can you? You cannot count him out. Like in a Super Bowl, obviously, if it's Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady, come on, we all know who we're taking. Tom Brady. He's the GOAT of the sport for a reason. And I want the Eagles to do everything they can tomorrow to protect Brady's legacy. To protect his legacy, obviously, because Mahomes is 2 behind now? I think 2 behind Brady already. So
3, yeah.
3 behind Brady. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, like you mentioned, the referees on this side.
Oh, sorry. It's 4. It's 3 if he wins this weekend.
Right. Yeah. So obviously, we spoke about the referees and how the controversial calls that have happened in recent times. Obviously, because we saw last 2 years ago with the Bengals being robbed, in my opinion. Or the Bengals kind of robbed the Rams in the sense that they got 2 touchdowns where it should have been flags, and then last year we had the 49ers, they lost in the Super Bowl. There's many tough decisions that don't go your way. When decisions like that don't go your way, you just can't win. You just can't win against the Chiefs, who are infamously, notoriously famous for winning with the referees on their side. But we've seen it many, many times. It's gonna happen again tomorrow, in my opinion. But we'll get more into that. Obviously, the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, people say that they kind of dropped off the season, but when it comes to the playoffs, you just can't bet against them, can you?
No.
Because just look at their recent record. The Buffalo Bills, for me, I think they fumbled really, really bad. They're the ones who should be in the Super Bowl right now. In my opinion, I don't know what the thought process was to go for the 2-point conversions. In my opinion, I don't know why they went for the 2-point conversions. Both of them against a very tough Chiefs defense. I don't understand why you think why you go for it. It doesn't make sense because you fumbled both of them. That costed you 4 points, and instead of getting 4, you could have got 2 with 2 extra points. That's where I think the Buffalo Bills fumbled. The decision making, the in-game decision making, and obviously the Chiefs, they play good defense on the Buffalo Bills. They play very good defense, and we've seen it with yeah. Sorry, you guys continue with what I'm saying. Okay.
In terms of the game, in terms of the Chiefs, I would say this. It's very impressive that they've made 5 Super Bowls in the past 6 seasons. I think the way people look at Mahomes is the way that they used to look at Tom Brady. It's like he was inevitable. It's like at some point you're going to have to face him in the postseason to make it to where you want to be. So for me, I think in this modern era, you have to pass Mahomes to win that Super Bowl. It's just kind of one of those things where you have to beat him and his team, and I think the one thing I was watching a video and it was saying that I think one of the biggest difference makers between Mahomes and other quarterbacks, especially in this league, is that majority of his life he's been in the big moments. Being in those kind of big high class games again and again and again, year after year and after year, it makes you kind of stone cold. It makes you kind of feel like there's nothing that can shake your confidence. You can have a bad start and still make a comeback. You've seen it in the past with the likes of Brady, where he's made comebacks that most people would look at miracles, but you kind of say, okay, he's going to do that. And that's similar when you look at Mahomes. He's about to do something that is going to be, that will go down in history if he does it, to win 3 in a row. I think it will put him up there in the GOAT conversations. Maybe just behind Brady, but I think it will. The first 7 to 8 years of his career is something that we haven't seen before in NFL, in sports in general. From a rookie to now, to being at the highest level of the game year after year after year, it's something that just gotta like look at in awe. Like as a rival, you hate it, but as a fan of the sport, you look and you think, wow, that's just, we're watching greatness in front of our eyes, and he's doing it with different squads, different players around him, different bits and bobs, and to do it season after season after season is impressive. And no matter what you think about maybe refereeing or any other factors, there's a different level that he has compared to other quarterbacks in terms of his mentality, in terms of how he prepares for the season, especially how he plays in post-season. Him alongside Andy Reid is a killer combination, and it's going to be very difficult to pass the Chiefs in a one-off game, especially in the Super Bowl when they've been there so many times. And even though the Eagles were there in the past, a couple years ago, we've added a couple pieces. It's kind of one of those things where you're facing a monster, and you're kind of like, you have to do something that most people can't, and beat them square up, and kind of. I think the biggest difference is going to be how Jalen Hurts takes this game in terms of his mentality, in terms of he has to be as ice cold as Mahomes. He has to kind of make the right decision making. Sirianni as well has to make the right decision throughout the game, because if you make a mistake, if you drop a ball, if you do something that will allow the Chiefs to have a chance, then they will punish you, and they will punish you in the worst way. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. But that's as much as I've got to say about the Chiefs. I think they're a great organization. They've been doing it for years, and it's going to be a very tough game. But I'm excited for tomorrow. I think it's one of those ones where, as an Eagles fan, I just want to be in it and within the chance. And if I got a chance, that's all I need.
Yeah, I mean, building onto that, we can say whatever we want about the refs. I've said my fair share of rigged, if you will, just because I'm upset at split decisions. But what you have to respect about the Chiefs in big games is the Chiefs don't beat themselves. The Chiefs will never be the Chiefs are going to play, like what the Patriots used to do. They're going to play tidy, clean football. They're not going to hold on third down. They're not going to fumble. They're going to keep 2 hands on the ball. They're not going to muff punts. They're not going to mess up on special teams. To beat the Chiefs, you have to play a perfect game. Now, I think the Chiefs, this is probably the worst iteration of the Chiefs we've seen in the Patrick Mahomes era, especially definitely offensively. Defensively, I don't know. I think they're actually pretty good defensively. But offensively, there's probably the most basic version of the Chiefs we've seen. But again, to be fair, Mahomes' Super Bowl stat line, especially in terms of interceptions thrown, isn't great. But regardless, I mean, him and the Chiefs in general, they don't really make too many major game-changing mistakes. They ask you to play a perfect game in order for you to beat them, and so far we haven't seen that. Like, with the the closest was probably the Eagles a couple of years ago, who did almost play a perfect game until a couple bad holding penalties on defense. But, for example, last year when they played the Niners in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs didn't win that Super Bowl because they went out there and had this unbelievable, fantastic game on either side of the ball. They won because they did their jobs And the Niners, you know, with a muffed punt and the missed field goal, you know, and the fumble, the Christian McCaffrey fumble on the opening drive, they beat themselves. So I think a key to this game is really going to be, can Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley, you know, keep the ball out of harm's way? Because this Philly offense, it's just so explosive and it's so star powered that Chiefs aren't going to, at least hopefully anyway, we never know with Spagnuolo because that guy's a genius. The Eagles, it's going to be hard to stop them on a consistent basis. The key for them is not giving the Chiefs the ball in good field position, I think is the key to me. And the other key is, you know, if Jalen Carter is going to play, because we've heard reports out of Philly that he's, you know, taken ill. He's a game time decision with the flu. The Chiefs, Jalen Carter, he's the defensive tackle he got drafted, I think 2 years ago.
I reckon you play this game. Like,
he has to play.
It's Super Bowl. Like, you just can't miss.
It just comes down to if he's on it or not, because he is the guy who I think has a chance to defensively wreck this Chiefs game plan.
Yeah, of course, 100%. Yeah. Obviously, who is the biggest player? Obviously, Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, aside from Patrick Mahomes, because for me, the player that I'm looking to, I have my eyes on is Saquon Barkley. He's the guy that, for me, has probably been the best player in the playoffs this year so far. If it's not, obviously, outside the quarterbacks. He's been, for me, the most important player. And also Brown. And also, was it A.J. Brown for the Eagles, right? Is that correct? A.J. Brown, is that right? Yeah, A.J. Brown for the Eagles. I remember that throw that Jalen Hurts threw for A.J. Brown on fourth down. Was it fourth down and 5?
Yeah, it was fourth down.
Against the Commanders. That was a brilliant throw. That throw was unbelievable. Like, real talk, that was an unbelievable throw. And the fact that, you know, you can make big plays, it's what's going to be so crucial for the Eagles this season, in terms of Super Bowl itself. These two players, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, are going to be the two big, and actually I include AJ Brown as well, are the three biggest players that will have to turn up for the Eagles if they want to be perfect against the Chiefs. To beat the Chiefs, you need to be perfect. Tom Brady was perfect in his Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. The Bucs were perfect. They converted almost every how do you say it? They converted on almost every drive. They converted on most of their drives, and that's why they destroyed the Chiefs. And the Chiefs had only 9 points. That's the lowest scoring I think the Chiefs have ever had in a Super Bowl. That's the lowest. I think that's the lowest points total I think that the Chiefs have ever had in a Super Bowl. So this is my saying. For the Eagles to need to win tomorrow, they need to be perfect, spot on with everything. They cannot fumble. They cannot turn the ball over very cheaply because the Chiefs, we all know what's going to happen. Patrick Mahomes is gonna do a long throw from downfield, and someone like, God knows, someone's gonna. I don't know who's gonna get on the end of it, but someone like, you give me a name. Someone's gonna get on the end of it. Like, there's obviously gonna be a flag thrown. It's obviously gonna be such and such, but you know, it's one of those games as you need to be perfect. Like I said, the referees need to be perfect. The refs need to be perfect. They need to call this game perfectly as well if they want a fair game. Because we've seen many times, obviously, with flags thrown, with, you know, controversial calls. You know, Super Bowls are not rigged, but there's been times where, you know, teams have got robbed with controversial calls, right? So, like I said, it needs to be perfect tomorrow. The Eagles need to be perfect. The Chiefs need to be on their A game because the Eagles defense is strong. It's a very strong Eagles defense. You saw what they did against the Commanders. The Commanders had a very, very decent run in the playoffs this year. Jaden Daniels, you know, they've had a very, very good run in the playoffs this year, and you know, to nullify them to only 27 points and the Eagles outscoring them. Like I said, you need to be perfect on most drives. Convert your field goals when you have it. When you have the field goal, you need to convert your field goals. We saw what happened with the Bills. They didn't convert their 2-point conversions. That's why they lost. and the Chiefs converted everything that they had. Everything. The Chiefs converted everything. So this is why I'm saying this is my point. To beat the Chiefs, you need to be perfect, and the Bucks were perfect. That's why they beat the Chiefs. So yeah, that's what I want to say. But lads, what do you guys say to that?
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on with what you're saying. You're talking earlier about AJ Brown. I think he, on the offensive side for the Eagles, is the key to the game. Because Saquon's going to be good. Saquon is going to be good in this game. We all know Saquon's a monster. The entire Philly offensive line is the best offensive line in football and has been for a couple of years. Saquon's going to have a big game. AJ Brown has been, until that Washington game, he's been relatively quiet in the playoffs. I feel like he had one catch, I believe, against Green Bay. He had 2 catches for 14 yards against the Rams. He did have a big game against the Commanders. The Commanders have one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. And the thing that concerns me a bit for the Eagles is Jalen Hurts. I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts. I just want to make that clear. I really do like Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
He struggles when you get pressure on him. Steve Spagnuolo blitzes more on third down than any other defensive coordinator in football. So winning off the line quickly on third down for both Devonta Smith and AJ Brown is going to be huge, regardless of, how run heavy the Eagles game plan is in general. On third down and 6, on third down and 8, you're going to have to throw the ball against a really good defense. And if Hurts can get the ball out on time and in rhythm, you're solid. If AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, but especially AJ Brown, don't get open consistently, Jalen Hurts is going to have to hold on to the ball, and that's when you get in trouble. That's when you get strip sacked, you get sacked in bad positions. That's when you throw bad passes and you get picked off. So to me, AJ Brown really, he had a great game against Washington, as I said. He's got to wake up from those earlier 2 playoff games. He's got to step it up. He had a huge game, I believe, last time they played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I think it was like just under 100 yards or something, a touchdown. He's got to be big for them, in my opinion.
Yeah. King?
No, I agree. Because I think as much as the run game's going to be there, we're gonna need to have Jalen be able to kind of get his guys, especially early on. You want your guys to get early touches. I think if they can do that and start with maybe the run game, I'll have them fearing the run game early on, and then getting the guys like Devontae Smith and AJ Brown some touches early on. I think then you have the game plan to have a good game going forward, because then you can switch it up going into the latter stages of the game.
Yeah.
Need both the pass and run to be smooth, especially against the Chiefs. You're gonna need to kind of offer them different looks. Maybe even have Jalen Hurts run as well. Have him have a couple runs as well, just so that you can do something different. Because I feel like when it comes to the Super Bowl, it's just make sure that every trick that you have is available, and make sure that you're doing it at 100%, because you're gonna want everything in order to win the game, and I think that's gonna be the biggest thing. And in terms of the Chiefs, if you give them, as I said, if you give them even a look or a sniff to allow them to kind of hit you with a couple sacks, hit you with a couple strips, then it's going to be a long day. Because then if you have ball in Mahomes' hand, he's going to be very clean and very safe with it, and he's going to easily be able to go up the other side, or if he gets good position, to convert it into touchdowns. And you can lose a game very easily if you make a couple bad decisions and give the ball to the Chiefs. So if anything, you just want the ball more than they have it, and try to kind of run the game as you so fit. So try and get that. Make sure that you have the ball not in Mahomes' hands, and make sure that your offensive is very clean, and allow for both kind of runs, types of plays and stuff of that nature. And that's probably the way Eagles are going to win the game, especially in the first half. It's gonna be important to also, we're gonna need to start off strong, because there's been some games where we haven't, and I think that's gonna be a big thing as well. We can't afford to kind of have a slow first half and try and come back. That's not gonna work. You're gonna have to be on it from minute 1 So
Yeah.
that's
I
gonna be
mean,
a big
the
difference.
Eagles got to get an early lead. They have to.
Yeah.
Because if you let the Chiefs play in rhythm and, run their little inside zones, throw their screens all over the place, throw their RPOs and their 5-yard hitches to Kelsey, no team has, in the last decade, well, in the last half decade, I should say, has stopped the Chiefs offensively. And it's not, especially in the last 2-3 years, especially this year, though, the Chiefs aren't an explosive offense. The Chiefs are a team that dinks and dunks and goes on long drives and throws down underneath and checkdowns, which isn't a bad thing at all, by the way. That's not criticism. That's just Andy Reid being a play calling genius and trusting a really good quarterback to execute on his game plan. If you let the Chiefs dink and dunk their way down the field, they will score and put up points consistently. What you have to do is Philly, you got to take an early lead. You have to force the Chiefs to start throwing the ball downfield because that's what the Chiefs haven't done well this year. They don't really have the roster for it outside of Xavier Worthy. Mahomes is obviously still an unbelievable deep passer. Yeah.
Kareem Hunt.
He's been worse at it this year than he has been previously. He only really has one deep weapon on the entire roster. So if you can force this Chiefs offense out of rhythm, I think it's easy for us to say that, obviously, get them out of rhythm, you'll win. But specifically, you got to force them out of that whole dink and dunk offense that they've run all year. You got to force them to push the ball downfield.
Yeah, especially with Kareem Hunt as well, who's been so crucial for the Chiefs this year in the playoff run, who has been for a couple of years now. Obviously, there's a lot for the Eagles defense to contain. You've got to contain the best offense in the league. And if you have to do it, it's in the Super Bowl, you'll win. If you can contain them, you'll win. Pretty simple. Because I trust this Eagles. In my opinion, I trust this Eagles offense. If I'm an Eagles fan, right, I trust this offense. I trust the Eagles offense to pull off something. It's up to the defense now to nullify the Chiefs. Whether you can do it is a different question. Whether that's like, because I saw a few errors that the Eagles had against the Commanders. Obviously, who's that guy that ran through? Was it James that ran through your whole defense at one point towards the end of the first half? It was James, right? For the Commanders.
I know what you're talking about. I think so.
There was one play at the end of the first half. Yeah, there was one play towards the end of the first half, and the Eagles conceded a very, very stupid touchdown, So this is what I'm saying. Lack of awareness can be an issue in the playoffs. It's Super Bowl. Excuse me. You need to be on your A game if you want to contain them. You need to be on your A game tomorrow. We all know how good the Chiefs are offensively. Defensively, you can get at them. I trust this Chiefs. I trust this Eagles offense. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and AJ Brown, the three players for me that can help the Eagles get over the line offensively. Defensively, the whole team needs to turn up. It's about containing Kareem Hunt. It's about containing, Travis Kelsey. It's about containing Patrick Mahomes himself. You need to make sure that his passes are limited. You need to try and limit his passes as well. So yeah, if the Chiefs stop the run game, they'll win. No, I agree. Patrick Mahomes, he's the passing king. Like he can pick out a pass from nowhere, out of nowhere. So this is what I'm saying. The Eagles need to be very, very careful of his very, very good downfield passes. But I know, Rafa, I have to balance, bro. But give us your prediction before you head off, and just obviously.
Yeah, man. Sorry I couldn't stay on longer. Just gotta have an early night tonight. Do you want to score?
Sorry.
You want a score line?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
I'm gonna go Chiefs 24, Eagles 21.
Just give your final thoughts as well. Your final thoughts of the game, and then close out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles are the best roster in football, and they were my Super Bowl pick. They were, other than the Chiefs. I mean, these two were my two favorites going into this season. The Chiefs because it's the Chiefs, and the Eagles because, as I've said a couple times now, I think they have the best roster in football. I think, on paper, the Eagles might have an advantage in terms of roster construction. But I just think Steve Spagnuolo and Andy Reid have been on the stage so many times, and they've come out with unique game plans, and they've executed those game plans even with lesser talent multiple times before. And so, I mean, it sucks to. I mean, to be fair, I've been wrong on essentially every prediction so far in these playoffs. So hopefully, I'm wrong on one more. But I'm gonna have to pick the Chiefs. I think it'll be a close game. I think it will be a close game because the Eagles. I mean, unbelievable team. And the Eagles, I mean, the good thing about the Eagles is they can dink and dunk because Saquon's going to get 4 yards of carry, but they can also hit that 75-yard touchdown through the air or through the ground. But I think Spagnuolo is going to cook up some game plan that'll hold the Eagles relatively in check. So I'm going to go Kansas City Chiefs 24, Philadelphia Eagles 21.
I'm sure we all did, Shivan. I mean, the Chiefs are just the Chiefs. Like I thought the Patriots won 3 in a row. Didn't they not win 3 in a row? Like
no, they went to 3 in a row, but they lost the one in the middle to the Eagles, funnily enough.
No, not for the Chiefs. Eagles will win anyway. The Chiefs win. Great.
Right.
Listen, Ronald. I mean, we all want the Eagles to win here. All of us want the Eagles to win here. Literally, like, we're all Eagles fans for the weekend. I'm a Patriots fan, and I can't see the Chiefs win. I don't want the Chiefs to win. I've been cheering against the Chiefs ever since their very first Super Bowl. Like, what was it, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like, we all wanted the Eagles to win. Yeah, I want the Eagles to win. Everyone wants the Eagles to win. America wants the Eagles to win, bro. We all hate the Chiefs.
I don't know, man. No one likes the Eagles.
I mean, the Eagles, to be fair, but if you have to pick a team who you hate most, it's the Chiefs. But another stat I think I picked out, I think the Eagles forced the most turnovers in the playoffs this season, if I'm correct. I think the Chiefs have forced the most fumbles, the most turnovers. I'm not so sure if I'm correct. I'm not sure if I'm accurate with that stat, but I heard something. I don't know, the commentator saying something when I was rewatching the highlights. Right? Obviously, I think the Eagles forced the most turnovers. Am I correct?
I'm not 100% on that stat, but we have been very good defensively. Obviously,
Yeah.
got the two young cornerbacks in DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell as well. So I think we've added pieces both on the offense and defense that have made our team better and made us more of a threat in the terms of, if you go on the ground, we can stop you. You go in the air, we can stop you. Got guys that are doing unbelievable things. I mean, even during the season, you saw Cooper DeJean tackle Derrick Henry and take him down. So our players are doing some crazy things.
Derrick Henry is a very, very good player.
Yeah. So our team's doing crazy things at the moment. Like Raf said, we do have one of the best constructed squads in the whole of the NFL.
Yeah.
But as I said, a lot of our guys haven't been in this moment, and there's a different type of pressure when you're in the Super Bowl compared to any other game. And the Chiefs have. And not only has Andy Reid and their team and Mahomes been in these moments, they won these moments back to back. They're on a different level in terms of mentality that need to win things, and I think that's the biggest difference, is the mentality. Are the Eagles going to have the mentality to make the right decisions at the right time? Is Sirianni going to show the world that he is a good coach? Is Jalen Hurts going to make the right decisions when it comes to the passing? Is Saquon Barkley going to have a lights out performance? Is AJ and them boys are going to get free and do what they need to do? Is the defense going to stop Mahomes? There's a lot of questions that you have when it comes to these type of games.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have answered those questions again and again and again. Eagles were here 2 years ago and lost. So
yeah,
I feel like they need to put a picture up of that loss, of them picking up that title, with them, crying in the background and all over the locker room and kind of look at it as a revenge game. One, you're stopping a team from completing greatness, and two, you're getting your revenge 2 years later. And it's kind of like a sweet justice that you do a 2-for-1, that you win the Super Bowl and you stop the Chiefs from completing something that hasn't been done before. So that's what you have. That's what you're kind of going for. So
100%. I agree with you. I'm just gonna ask this rhetorical question. Yeah, this is a rhetorical question. Will the Eagles be able to learn from their mistakes from 2 seasons ago? I'm just putting it out there. Will the Eagles be able to learn from what happened 2 years ago? 2 years ago, because what they did 2 years ago, I couldn't fathom it. Like, I just couldn't. I just didn't like it. I don't remember the score. What was the score again of that game? What was the final score?
let me find it. It was 38-35.
There you go.
So it was a close game. Like this one's going to be a close game as well. It's
Didn't
always
you
going
guys-
to be a close game.
Didn't you guys miss a couple field goals in the Super Bowl as well? I think you did.
Yeah, we did miss some opportunities in the
That's
Super
what
Bowl.
I'm
Yeah,
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I mentioned earlier. You need to be perfect against these Chiefs, because the Chiefs have. If you make a mistake against them, it's curtains. They're gonna destroy you on offense. But I know the Eagles have a very good defense. They forced the most. I think they forced the most turnovers in the playoffs this year. So I think you guys can. I think you try and nullify them. You just have to try and outscore them in the best way possible. And I trust Jalen Hurts. I trust Saquon Barkley, and I trust AJ Brown. These three are what's gonna get the Eagles over the line, in my opinion. Offensively, defensively is where I think it might be tough, but like I mentioned, I'm not so sure if this is correct, but I think the Eagles have forced the most turnovers in the playoffs this year. So we'll see what happens. But let's get our score predictions and we'll wrap it up. I don't want to do it for too long. Obviously, it's a Super Bowl, so I mean the halftime show is Kendrick Lamar, and I mean that's it. He's doing a solo in the Super Bowl, so I mean big up to him. Hopefully it's a good halftime show in New Orleans. What are you saying for the score predictions? Back your team. Come on, back your team, bro. This is Super Bowl. I want you to back your team. I don't want you to say what you think in your head. I want you to back your team.
no, but what I think in my head is going to be a close one. I think it's going to be 3 points in it either way. I'm going to go 28-24 Eagles.
Siobhan went for 28-24 Chiefs. I'll go for 28-25 Eagles.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one. I think
In
it's
my-
just going to be down to one score. Yeah,
In my
or
mind,
less.
I think the Chiefs will win. But it's like a fuck it moment. I'm backing the Eagles. I don't give a shit. 28-25 Eagles. Let's go.
No, I believe in my team. I believe we have
Yeah,
the players to do it on both ends of the.
If you're in the Super Bowl, what's there not to believe? You're there for a reason. You got there for a reason. You've been one of the best teams. Of course, you have every right to back your team, man. Every right. There is in the final. There is always 2 teams. There's no such thing as one team in the final, unless you just collapse, completely collapse, and just all of a sudden just, get blown out from the very, very start. So yeah, that's correct. No, you're right. You just back your team, bro. Always back your team in the final.
Yeah, and I think the difference between this time and last time is we have an elite running back in Saquon Barkley that we didn't have last time, and we have 2 young studs in our cornerbacks with Cooper DeJean and Mitchell, and our O line is still freaky. So imagine you have a world class running back with the O line that we have. We have a running back who's finally converting the chances that he needs to convert into touchdowns and making things happen. So I think we're on a different level offensively and defensively compared to 2 years ago.
Do you guys have the best offensive net rating in the league?
I'm not sure about that. I don't think so. I can check.
Offensive net rating, and I think check defensive net rating as well, because if that's down to if that's the Eagles, then bro, you're destined. You're destined. If the Eagles have it, then you're destined because it just depends on your mentality in tomorrow's game. It's the mentality. It's not just how. And obviously, the Chiefs fans have the arrogance. They'll have have all the arrogance in the world tomorrow. Try and cause an upset, even though I don't think you're the favorites. You're not the favorites to win tomorrow's game, that's for sure. But whether it's, but who's going to turn up is my question. Other than the 3 players I listed, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts, do you have any names that you can give me that you really trust in? Other than the cornerback and the ones that you named, is there anyone that I missed out on that I forgot to give credit to?
I think all our people in the O line I trust. I trust our O line to give Saquon the opportunity to kind of do his thing.
No.
I think the biggest difference has been in recent years is our O line is of an elite level. And yeah, outside of that, not really. I've mentioned all the guys that I think Saquon, Jalen, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Those are the 4 guys offensively that you're going to have big games in order for you to win. But it's the Super Bowl. Sometimes it's a random guy that comes out of nowhere and has a good game. Because when it's a one-off game, they try and stop your weapons. Sometimes it takes a guy out of nowhere to kind of get free, do certain. So it will be interesting to see what players step up in terms of our roster, in terms of the guys that we have.
Yeah, the Eagles have a very, very good O-line, 100%. Shivan, where are you from, by the way? I think where are you from? Because obviously, I'd like to know. We've spoken many times on chat, but obviously we've not spoken on a personal level. But obviously, where are you from? Where are you from? I want to know. Anyone that's watching my stream right now, let me know where you guys are from in the world. Where you guys will be watching the Super Bowl from. I'll be watching it from Thailand at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's gonna be early as hell. And with Aston Villa Tottenham being at mid 12:30, I might scrap that game, to be honest. Who has the best offensive total team stat leaders? Let's see this. Hold on.
It might be the Ravens, in terms of offense. I don't know in terms of postseason.
No, the Eagles have the most points. The Eagles have the most points.
Most points in the offseason, yeah?
They've averaged 35.0. The second team is not even the Chiefs. It's actually the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Then the Washington Commanders.
So the Commanders offensively are good, yeah.
So I'm just reading it off of this NFL team total offense postseason stats 2024. 2024 postseason. Yeah, 2024 So this is the year 2024 postseason. Obviously they don't post 2025 because 2025 season starts in September. So yeah, then it's the Buffalo Bills. Then it's the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs are 4th in terms of in terms of points per game. In terms of yards per game, the Eagles have the most yards per game, I think. Actually, no, sorry, my bad. The Eagles don't have the most yards per game. That's the Baltimore Ravens who have the most yards per game.
Mm.
Who averages the most? Who has the most passing per game? That's the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions had the most yards in terms of passing. Total yards per team, the Detroit Lions dominate the stats. But the Eagles, like I said, the Eagles you guys scored the most points per game. That's 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 just what it is. Like, so if you can take that into tomorrow's game and build on from that, I reckon you've got a good shot. Very, very good shot.
Yeah, and we have a solid defense as well. Obviously, we've got guys like Zach Braun, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay as well, other names, Blankenship. So in terms of this season, we've had the best defense, one of the top offenses. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think we overall are a better team, but there's a difference between being the better team and having the better mentality. And I think that's the one thing the Chiefs have for most other teams is that you can be the better team, you can have the better offense, defense, but that mentality, that switch that they have to go on a different level when it comes to the big games is going to be the difference maker. So gonna have to kind of match them, and as everyone said tonight, to be perfect.
The Eagles have the best defense right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was spot on with what I said. The Eagles force the most turnovers. They force the most fumbles. They force the most. I think interceptions. I'm not so sure, but fumbles for sure. Like the pressure you guys put is on teams is very, very good. I think you guys have a good shot tomorrow. But the thing is, the Chiefs don't turn the ball over very, very easily. They don't turn the ball over very, very easily. They don't. They're always near perfect. The Chiefs. They're always nearly perfect. There's a few mistakes here and there, but that doesn't happen as often. So like I said, the Eagles need to be perfect tomorrow. They need to be perfect tomorrow. Yeah, Chiefs are very better defense. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, they do. I think they do have. I think they slightly have the better defense, but I think that if I had to pick between who will force the most turnovers, Eagles can. I think that the Eagles have shown this season that they can force the most turnovers. So yeah, any more thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yeah, just excited to see the Super Bowl tomorrow. Obviously, Kendrick Lamar in the halftime show will be interesting.
Yeah.
Probably one of the first times you see a diss record in a halftime show.
He's doing solo as well.
Yeah,
So,
I'm excited for the game. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. Two great teams, and yeah, it's just going to be very interesting to see what happens. As we're gonna, one way or another, we're gonna witness something that gonna witness greatness in terms of history of this sport, because we're watching a team trying to do to complete the impossible to win 3 in a row, and another team try and stop them. So it'll be a great game. I think there'll be a lot of tension. I'm hoping for a good high intense game. Great halftime show. A lot of great adverts as well. I want to see some good stuff, and yeah, excited for another Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%, and I can't wait as well. I just can't wait for the season to end, man, so we can stop, so we can just relax on this NFL Super Bowl. It's not my favorite. NFL's not my favorite, but you know, it is what it is. Season ends tomorrow, so we'll definitely get into more postseason stuff. We'll definitely get into some more stuff that happens. We might do a Super Bowl review after the game. We might just do some, so we'll let you know. And an NBA show will be back tomorrow. I think back tomorrow. I think back Monday. So yeah, I think we'll do NBA shows Monday. Premier? I won't do a Premier League show this week until Friday. So NBA starts in a couple hours, so definitely gotta rest up for that. King, I'll leave your link in the title below, in the title of the video, so make sure you guys check his channel out. He'll have some videos coming his way soon, so make sure you do tune into his channel. Make sure you tune into AIN Sports as well. More previews, more reviews happening, coming soon. So tomorrow, I'm not so sure what I'll do tomorrow. FA Cup draw reaction I might do I might do a live FA Cup draw. We'll see about that, and then guess not really much to say. Just hopefully the Chiefs don't win. Hopefully the Eagles win tomorrow. Hopefully the Eagles win, and hopefully there's a good halftime show. You know. And I guess that's it for today. We're gonna wrap it up. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe. Get me to 130 before the end of tomorrow. Be nice. 3 away from 130. 12 of you watching. Click the link. I've shared it already. And subscribe. And we're gonna wrap it up here. Take care. Go Patriots. But for tomorrow, go Eagles. Peace.
Go Eagles. Yeah.
Go fly birds fly.
Fly birds fly.